Welcome to my channel. My name is Lisa, and today I'm going to be working on a definitely different project than I normally work on. I decided to make a few little dangles for some of my journals. Now, I'm by no means a jewelry expert, but I have a bunch of beads in my house, and I was thinking about this, so I've decided to make just small little dangles here, and I'm going to show you how easy it is to do even if you're not a jewelry maker. So stay tuned and let's get this project started. Alright, so this is the first one that I made, and this is the second one. Well, actually, technically, this was the first one that I made, and then this was the second one that I made. So they are made out of paper clips and wire. Really simple. I do have bulb pins on there, but would not totally be necessary to use those. So let me show you how we did these. So we're going to start with simple paper clips. I have a couple different kinds here. I don't know if you can tell. This one for some reason has lines on it, and this one doesn't. Doesn't matter. I just had a box of paper clips that I grabbed a couple out of. I'm going to get the bulb pins out of the way because those are for later. Now I have wire. This one that I have on this paddle is more of a galvanized wire. It is 22 gauge. It's probably the perfect size for it. Not too thick, not too thin. I've got these two spools. This one is a shinier silver. It's a little bit thicker. And this one is kind of a gunmetal black, sort of as a purplish hue. It's probably in between. Unfortunately, I don't have the packaging for either of these. But just so you know, if you want to go find some wire, 22 gauge, if you feel how that feels, you can see this is what I used. And these are probably, this one's a little thicker, this one's probably the same weight. So somewhere around there. The only other tool I have is this, which is similar to regular pliers. It has a little bit of a cut notch in there, little circles. It is a jewelry plier, but regular pliers would work too. The only reason I'm using it is to cut the wire and then to be able to twist the ends to go into the paper clip. So, all right, so let's get started. I also pulled a selection, because I made the two autumny color ones. I pulled a selection of blues and purples to do for the first batch. All right, so I think because I'm doing the blues and purples, I'm going to do this one since I also haven't done a thing in there. So I'm going to cut approximately 15 inches of this. And like I said, I just used the little end to cut it. You can use scissors to do this. Please do not use your fabric scissors. Use junky, crunky scissors, because it will put a notch in your scissors where you cut them, and that notch is like impossible to get out. But you can cut these wires with scissors. I have done it in a pinch, but if you can get wire cutters, they're much better off. All right, so what I started to do is I start with the one end, and I'm just gonna, with my loopy guy, I'm just gonna make a couple circles of this. Now you technically could take this and find a dowel rod or a stick, a toothpick, where you put it on there and wrap it around there just to start. Now the only reason I do that is to get it looped onto here. I take the end that's open on the outside and I'll just slide that on here until it gets down to the second loop. So it's really kind of inside. Okay? All right, so next thing we're going to do is I'm going to hold as best I can the circle in its place, and I'm going to wrap this wire a couple times around the top of the paper clip. Now you can use this to kind of flatten it down too, to get it to stay. Now I have a different tool, not necessarily, this is a flat nose kind of plier. If you have those, you can use those too. Now you can see the reason that I'm doing that, a couple folds, is to get it to stay on there a little bit better. And it also made a little loop at the top. You see it here. Made a little loop at the top to put the final bulb pin through. Okay? All right, that's the hardest part of this whole thing. Well, maybe the hardest part is picking some beads. Now, I find that 4 beads is probably a good amount. So I'm just going to pick my first bead. I guess really the only other thing is it's got to be able to fit on the wire. So I'm going to take my first bead and I'm going to kind of nestle it in the crook of the safety pin, the paper clip, and I'm going to wrap it around to lock it in place and come back up. Okay? So that has locked it into its place. Now I'm going to find my next bead that I want to use. And this one could be fun. Now this is where the fun comes. If you've got a bunch of beads to try to figure it out, or when you go to the store to find some of these bead strands that are fun that could go together. All right, so we got that, and let's go with something a little bit smaller, just for funsies. Get this to slide on there. Are you gonna work? Sometimes you gotta go from the other end. I don't know why, but you do. Okay, so we're gonna lay that onto the paper clip and wrap around it, come back up, and one final bead. Looks like we got plenty of room here, so I want to go with something a little bigger. Let's try that. Now I should have said the biggest challenge is to get my 59-year-old, there it is, my 59-year-old eyes to be able to see the hole. Okay. All right, so we're going to wrap around this. Now for this one, I'm going to go back up to lock it in, and then I'm going to come up and I'm going to go through the paper clip. Gonna do that one more time, and I'm going to go through the paper clip. All right, that secures it into place. Now what I do next is I'll take this and I'll try to feed it up inside this back of this paper clip, and there we go. Grab a hold, take the little tool, grab a hold, and that's why these come in handy too, is you can go in there and grab and pull a little bit stronger than maybe you can with your hands. We're going to pull that tight. All right, so I'm going to go and take and cut this off as close to the paper clip as possible. And I'm going to take that pointy end and do my best to push it back down inside of there so it doesn't stick out. Kind of try to fold it down into the center. All right, and then we'll find, I think we'll do a black bulb clip with this one because it's kind of got that gunmetal black. And there you go. Now come on, that is so cute, right? Out of a simple paper clip, some beads, and you have a dangle. Let's see if I got a handy dandy journal I could try to attach it to. I do have my good old dragonfly journal here. So I don't have a special hole for it like I would do up here maybe. So I'm gonna just try to slide it onto the clasp there, and we'll flip this around. I mean, come on, cute, right? And so simple, 4 beads and a paper clip. All right, well, let's make another one. Let's do this again. All right, so maybe we'll start out with the silver one. All right. Whoops, kind of got twirled onto itself. All right. 15 inches was a random amount that I had picked the first time I did it, and it worked well. So hopefully it would work the same for you. Like I said, it's not anything set in stone. The piece that you see here, you probably actually can't see the whole thing because I've got it narrowed down into it, is from the Dollar Tree. You can go by the craft section, and they have peel and sticky, or I'll show you a different one. They have these wall art peel and stick papers. I have a couple of them. So the $1.25 store, I use them on my desk when I just want to focus in on that and not show my blue background. And these, strangely, are about 15 inches. So I can use this to measure while I'm doing this. Just go like that and go, oh, 15 inches. All right, so here we are again. Okay, we're gonna take my roundy tool, and you know what? I think I'm gonna go grab a toothpick to show you what you can do with that. So I'll be right back. All right, I am back with a round toothpick. Just to show you, you don't have to have as many tools as you think. So we're gonna start with this. We're gonna wrap around it a couple times. And we're gonna twist it off. All right, so I'm gonna squish it down with my hands. Try to do my best to tuck that sharper end inside. And there we are. We have a circle. All right, so we're gonna again take it from the outside loop of the paper clip, and we're gonna swing it down into the second loop. And there we go. All right, so we're gonna do our best to keep this fold that down one more time. There we go. Okay, so we're going to take this, come on little guy, sometimes this part is just so unruly. All right, we're going to hold that up there. All right, there we go. Okay. And we're squishing it with our fingers. Totally doable. Definitely easier if you've got one of these tools to be able to do a little squish down. So I'm gonna go ahead and do that. Now this one, the way the circle did with the toothpick, didn't leave me as much of a loop for a bulb pin, but there's still room to be able to stick one eventually down here and hang it up. Okay, all right, so since we did a blue one, let's do with the purple one. I got some purple beads here. All right, I'm gonna start with, I'll start with this guy. Okay, put them flat on there, and we'll do a wrap and a wrap around. And I'm gonna go with the darker bead. And a wrap and a wrap around. Now when I'm wrapping it, I'm also trying to push them together so that they're more secure and not gonna shift. It's just not a loose wrap. And, all right, should I throw, this is fun. It's a littler bead. Kind of audition it a little here, see? That might be too much the same. What if I stuck? That could be pretty. All right. I have a clear white bead here. Add a little variety to it. And wrap. And we'll do this purple bead. Okay, wrap around it once. We'll go behind it. And the reason I go behind it before I go in front of it is just to, it's a little more shifty at this point, moves backwards, and then when I go for this one, I got a little bit more room to make it stay. Okay, so we're gonna go back down inside of there. And go back down inside. So if I wanted to make a loop on this end now, I could definitely do it at this point. And have a loop up there. So it hangs from that direction if I wanted to. But I do not want to. But now I think I might have been stuck doing it. Sometimes once this wire, there we are, once this wire gets bent, it has a mind of its own and doesn't like to come off. So, there we go. All right, so I went down through the second time. I'm gonna trim this a little bit so I can feed it now that I've bent it. And I'm gonna feed it down into the center so it doesn't want to come back out again. There we go. Now this is, I mean, if you're looking for pretty, you're not going to get that without fussing too much. I think it's more of an abstract kind of look to it. I'm fine with that for sure. As you can see, it's not too bad on the back. The front, it's definitely more of just a plain old wire wrap kind of look. And I might stick it on this side. Pretty, huh? Yeah. Okay. If you'd like to see future videos like this, don't forget to subscribe to my channel and hit that like button if you've liked the video so far. What I'm going to do is I'm going to pause the video, and if you want to see some more of these charms being made, I will be right back. All right, I am back. I found some pink beads and some yellow beads to do one of each. I have pre-cut my 15-inch. I've decided to use the brighter silver to do the yellow one. I am going to take my tool to do the thing. So I'm going to do a couple twirls and a little bit of a squish just to get that ready to go. Now, by all means, if you know how to make jewelry and you know how to use these tools properly, do not take my word for it. Like I said earlier, I am totally a novice at this. So I could be totally using these tools incorrectly. Wouldn't put it past me to be doing that. All right, so I'm gonna straighten that out a little bit so I can wrap this a couple times around the paper clip to anchor it in. Okay. All right, so got a bit of a loop at the top, got a bit of a squish there, and we're ready to go. All right, so yalla. yellow fella. Let's start with you. And we're going this way. Wrap around that and back up. And I think we'll go with this one. All right. Wrap around and back up. I don't know if this is going to work. I don't think that's going to work. Well, let's try this one. Not totally a fan. So let's try this one. That'll work, and then we can put the gold one at the bottom probably. Yeah, that'll probably work. Okay. So I'll wrap it around, come back up, and not really gold, it's definitely a yellowish hue. Oh, the question is, you got a big enough hole to work. Oh, you do. Phew. Okay, nestle him in. Remember, we're going to come behind him to lock him in place, and then we're going to come up and through. And up and through. Now you can see that with the smaller beads here, because these were not all big beads, it left a bigger hook at the top where you could put your now if I wanted to, I probably could have added a 5th bead on there just to fill it out. A little late now, but 4 is not a steadfast rule. It's just what I've sort of found while I'm doing these, is 4 is a pretty good size for these, pretty good quantity for these size beads. All right, so we're going to get that little tail tucked in so it doesn't backfire. Yeah, all right. We'll go with the, and I think I still might put it on the top here, like this. Now, if you've got charms, which I do not have any, you could definitely, when you're getting to the last one, be able to hang a charm off of it so it comes, or take a separate wire and wire an extra charm onto the bottom of that. Totally would be a great option, or even hang it the other way, put in a second bowl pin on. And it's not going to want to go through because it's pretty tight of a hole. Put a second bowl pin on there and hang a charm off of there. Yeah, super cute. All right, so let's make the pink one. I have cut a piece of 15-inch wire of my blackish one because I thought black and pink can be fun together. Why not? All right, so let's take one more. Oh. All right, so we're gonna wrap this around. Try to get a little coil on this one. All right, so we got a little coil on that one, and now let's use this one. We're gonna, there we go. Fish it in and back to the bottom loop. Okay. So get that loop toward the top. Come on, you little fiddly thing. There you go. All right, gotta wrap that around a couple times and give it a little squish. All right, there we go. Okay, so pink it is. So many pretty pinks. I'm really kind of thinking this would be fun to put on here. It is definitely huge. I think that's one of those charm bracelets you can put. I can't think of the name of it. This has got the bigger hole. And you know what? I'm not loving that hole sticking out, so we are gonna unwind that. Not loving that hole. We're gonna rethink our strategy here and go with this one. So now that I've done that one, I think I want to do this bead next. A little darker pink tones on there. That first bead had a little bit more lighter pink, but this has darker. So changing up our theory here. Go up that, and we're gonna take this one. One and two, and we're gonna go with, I think, this one. All right, so we're gonna wrap behind it and then tuck in front of it. Lock it in place, and we'll do one more tuck. Like knotting off a journal, right? We're just knotting it off here. Okay. All right, I think I'm gonna cut a little bit off here so I can feed this through a little bit better. Get in there, little guy. I don't want to squish I don't want to break a bead in front here, you know? Trying to squish him in. Okay, all right, I love it. Let's get a ball pin for him. And all right, we have another dangle. Okay, well, I think you might have the idea of how we did these. So let me show you these up front, up close. And you can get to making your own. Very simple. Okay, so this is the absolute first one that I made. Just random colors, kind of fall colors, greens and yellows, and there's a red-ish pink and black. Just fun with the ball pin. And then I moved on and made this one, which was more for the fall, with some oranges, golds, yellows. Okay, And then we moved on to this blue. This bead's a little looser than I would have liked, but it's kind of fun. And then the purple one with a clear white bead on there. And then we moved on and did the yellow one. And then lastly, the pink one. And probably my favorite too. Now what's fun about these two, as I'm looking at these, is they could definitely go on a keychain, a backpack, anywhere you want to hang these. You could probably even create them as things to hang off a Christmas tree. So we're just going to show a progression here. First time I ever made one. There's the back. Doesn't look too bad. This is the last one I made. Definitely looks a little better. So even just within this half an hour-ish of making them, I got remarkably better at doing them. This first one I did not wrap around twice. I only wrapped around once. Near the end I was wrapping it around twice, and I think it looks a lot better, and they're a lot sturdier than that. This one I kind of didn't pull as tight. This one I went between the beads, which I think is a better look. So as you can see, even just, so if you make some, don't expect your first one to be beautiful. But sixth one in, stunning. Paperclip. Beautiful. All right. If you have any comments, questions, feel free to ask. This was, again, kind of not invented by me, because people bead and make dangles all the time, but just created by me today. I had a thought and decided to do it. So if you have any questions, please let me know. This is not the be-all, end-all way of doing them. It is just the way that I have figured out to be able to do them. So if you want to see future videos from me of different things, please subscribe to the channel, and I hope you have a wonderful and creative day. Thanks again.